In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in Black and White emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White. I'm your host, Charles King, and tonight we have another great show for you. There are leaders who manage systems, and then there are leaders who transform them. Tonight, we sit with a man whose life journey reflects the power of possibility when passion meets purpose. From the heart of Philadelphia's public schools to the highest levels of district leadership, Dr. Ariel Lajara has dedicated his life to building learning communities where every child, no matter their zip code, has the opportunity to thrive. His story is not just about professional advancement, it's about service commitment and the belief that education is the most powerful lever for change. He has walked the halls as a paraprofessional, taught in classrooms where dreams were still forming, led schools through seasons of growth, and now shapes the future of entire networks as an assistant superintendent. But beyond the titles, Dr. Lajara is a community builder, a mentor, a servant, a leader, and an entrepreneur who understands that leadership extends far beyond the school walls. His work with organizations across the city, his advocacy for equity, and his entrepreneurial vision through Elevate Higher all speak to a man committed to lifting others as he climbs. Tonight, we honor his journey, his impact, and his unwavering belief that strong communities create strong students, and students build a stronger world. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Ariel Lajara.
Hey,
Hello, sir.
hey, how's it going?
Oh, just great. How are you?
Oh man, it's fantastic, man. I'm having a great day.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to be here. And I'm glad that you're here because you can continue to help us to shed some light on education and the positive future that's there.
Absolutely,
Is
man. I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
is there anything you'd like to say to the audience before we get started?
I mean, I just want to thank everybody for their time, their engagement, and their collective fortitude. As you know, I hope that this conversation turns into a beacon of light and also a memoir of someone that is a byproduct of the same city and same system of schools that he came up in, and really just shedding light on the opportunities to create growth and impact for our inner city youth.
Yes, sir. So let's start with so people can get to know a little bit more about you, the individual. Let's start with your life story and your personal journey. What was it like growing up in Philadelphia public school system?
I would say that it was both a challenge and a reward all in one. Uh, been in the city of Philadelphia for the past 30 years, originally from Harlem, New York, by way of the Dominican Republic. I'm a first generation American, first generation middle school graduate, high school graduate, and all the way up from college and all the way up to a doctoral degree. Come from definitely humble beginnings, come from a small village in the Dominican Republic where my father, due to being the second oldest boy out of 13, was forced to drop out of school at a very early age, around fourth grade, and a mother, for similar circumstances, had to drop out of high school. So my story is one that's forged on the power of immigration, the power of getting a education here in the United States of America. But more importantly, is also hyper focused on the words of Carter Gottman Woodson, where he discusses that our opportunity in life is really to go get an education, but then come right back to the city that formed you and raised you and give back to that community widely. So um, I can go on and on about this, but what I really want to focus on what I'm doing now and how we can all collectively contribute to the greater good of our society.
Jay Cook Elementary and Olney High School shape your early identity.
Oh man, big time. So I came from Harlem, New York, which was more of a melting pot, and then came into a highly impoverished inner city where I attended Jay Cook, and the demographics of that school were a high percentage of African American and Asian, and really a school that didn't have a high population of Latino students, really like a handful. So I had to, at an early age, I understood what social capital was, what cultural capital was, and really allowed me to understand that um, really poverty and socioeconomic status dictates how a society and how children are being educated and what they have to absorb and deal with on a daily basis, way past a origin, color, religion, race, or creed. So I had some decent teachers at Jay Cook, but was too young to understand what a good person was trying to be from the teacher perspective. But by the time I got to Olney High School, and just getting into um, inner city trouble, I had two extremely strong African American teachers, Mr. White and Mrs. Johnson, that showed me that giving up on a student was not something that they were okay with, and because of that, specifically Miss Johnson, giving us chores to do after school so we can earn some additional money, giving us guidance. I remember like yesterday showing me her pay stub, showing me that in this field, if you work hard, you can be successful financially, but mostly you can also be successful with the social reward of impacting people's lives. And I was afforded that opportunity at a very young age. And then after that, Mr. White carried the baton, and I attended Lincoln University, the first HBCU. So he'll come up for any event that I had because at the time I had an absentee father that was dealing with his own things. So he fit in that role and really supported me in a lot of different ways. Gave me X amount of cash for every A that I got, like a young child. But I needed that. I didn't understand the power of a community, and I really didn't understand the power of having a total stranger come into your life and becoming a family member. So the educational system in Philly public schools afforded me those two, and also Mr. Weifels, which drove me himself to college and made sure that I stayed out of trouble and finished out my associate degree that then led me to so many different opportunities. So the transformational power of teacher and education, specifically in inner city, is paramount, and it's really undervalued and misunderstood to the wider and broader society systems around the work that you have to do way above the curriculum to ensure that people that have less than are provided with an ample amount of equitable resources, not only to survive, but to thrive in our society.
With that early experience, because that sounds like some real value that you received,
Um,
how did that influence or help you into your part of education right now? How did that influence and impact the way you work now?
it really embodies my two theories of leadership, which is a combination of transformational leadership and servant leadership, and understanding that there is no higher reward than knowing that you are making a positive impact in somebody's life. And then also understanding that to be successful in this field, you have to go way above and beyond the curriculum. Because in our and really in our worldwide K to 12 education is so hyper focused on subject matters, whether it's math, ELA, social studies, science, and so on. But the understanding that without the human resource in the classroom and really being a human to you at all times, you will lose interest or lose motivation in what you're going to do. So that has positioned me in a way that something I live by. And I tell everyone that works with me, because I don't use the term work for me. The people I work for, I help them understand that you don't work for me, I work for you. As a servant leader, I want to go above and beyond to ensure that I'm meeting the demands of our district, but most importantly, the needs of the consumer, which is whatever stakeholder or constituent I come across, whether that's a parent, a teacher, a student, anyone that needs additional support, anyone that needs to see somebody that looks like them, sounds like them, or comes from their similar origin or background, that with not just hard work and dedication, but that you have to build a community and a network that enriches you, that pours into you, that allows you to be yourself at all times, that really empowers you to understand that you don't have to code switch or be someone else to be successful in life, that the most important person you could be in this world is to be yourself. Someone that consistently gives you that affirmation. It really allows you to come to work and to come do this work that is challenging with a mindset of that we're in this together. We can't do this work alone. And the most collective power that you can have is to have a social network of people that believe in you, pour into you, and know when to push and when to pull all at once.
Wow. Who were the mentors or influences that guided you during your formative years? That's those younger years.
Hey, listen, man, my mother, I come from a background of parents that don't speak English. So my mother at her, strong age where we're at right now, her 70s, still doesn't speak the English language, uh, never learned how to operate a vehicle, could not advocate due to the language barrier. But she showed me the power of love, the power of hard work, the value of the American dollar, but most importantly, the super value of giving back to your community and ensuring that you're consistently lifting as you climb. So with that said, my mom valued that literally on a daily basis. We made ends meet, and we'll scrap the rest to make sure that we sent resources to our country on a monthly basis. We shipped the box. She comes from an extremely large family. My mother is one out of 28, so she has 27 siblings, and she opened her doors to every family member through the immigration process as they landed to America, and allowed them to live with us for 6 months to a year to really get on her feet at no charge. And also just went above and beyond with the limited resources she had. She made it stretch to ensure that, hey, it's one thing to take care of home, but if you're not helping others, then we're not really meeting the call of life. So she modeled for me that the entire point of getting a seat at the table is one thing, to ensure that you have a voice, but also to dismantle that table and ensure that that table does not impact negatively our community and our people. So she was just a great teacher around how to live life. And then when I encompassed and combined my mom's teachings with my educational background, I was really be able to understand that if I'm not impacting people in a positive way, then I'm not really fulfilling my God-given duties. And I'll end that by also saying that due to that and success in my field, I was able to form some really good organizations. One called Elevate Higher, which hyper focuses on educational consultancy, professional development, keynote speaking, and things of that nature. To really to provide people with a message of empowerment. And then also another company called Equitable Property Solutions, where I'm able to garner funds, buy up properties, rehab them, and place people in homes at a rent that is 40 to 50% under market value. So because I grew up in a household with so many people, I ranged from 15 to 17 people living in a 3-bedroom household. I understood that food insecurity and home insecurity is something that, even though we state that we're the most powerful country, we still battle these these concerns on a daily basis in every inner city, specifically one like Philadelphia, where I work at in Kensington. Kensington, part of Philadelphia, is the largest open drug market in the East Coast of the United States of America. So I get to work with a lot of people that are impoverished and also a lot of people that are consumed by some of the societal shortcomings that we battle. Just continuously trying to provide people an upper hand. And I'm a byproduct of a second chance. So I'm a sound believer of creating organizations that give people opportunities to have a second chance at life. And 9 times out of 10, when you do that, you really position people to show you that they could do so much more than what you thought. And nothing brings me more joy than that.
So, what was the moment that made you realize that education was your calling?
Oh, dude, man, at 17 years old, I graduated from high school, and I had a burning desire to dismantle what the barriers were that really almost prevented me from having a sound future. And what that is leadership. It's yes, resources help. Human resources help, but you need someone that's able to take the punches and keep pushing through and lead through adversity, and be an adaptive leadership that continuously adapts to what's going on to meet the consumer demands, not just educationally, but also humanistically, which in some fields we lose that human aspect of work. So at 17, I just had a burning desire that I knew I could make a difference. And something that I took a lot of pride in was that I wanted to be part of every position that makes up a school community. So I started my career as a paraprofessional, which is the entry level position in an educational setting. I was able to move up from paraprofessional to teacher to dean, director, assistant principal, principal, and now gratefully as an assistant superintendent. But what's really important to me is that once you live in these roles, you have a really good identity and understanding of when I make a decision at the top, how does that impact all stakeholders, not some stakeholders? And that has allowed me to be very creative and empathetic around the decisions we make and how we positively impact different subgroups of constituents, which really has put me in a place where I take a lot of pride in trying to be the most equitable leader that I can.
Can you tell us, with all of this experience, because you've really touched on an enormous amount of people, how are you able to take the knowledge and the experience that you have and relate it to the people in the community, the parents, the kids, the people that you work with? How are you able to build that bond and solidify their security of understanding that you would get the job done for them as best as possible?
It's about meeting people where they're at, not where you want them to be. It's about being very transparent and having courageous conversations around what's the capacity that needs to be built to empower you to be a better person and a better person to others. But also, I always thank God for placing me in challenging situations that have allowed me to have a collective understanding of what others are going through. So I take a lot of pride in saying that I was on welfare from the day I was born to age 22, that I was impoverished, that I lived in a household with a lot of people, that I didn't sleep in a bed until I went to college. Like these experiences that the universe has allowed me to go through, I never looked at them as shortcomings or as challenges. I looked at them as experiences that one day will promote me and propel me to be a beacon of hope for other people. But also, the most important thing that I have is that I come into every conversation or situation with a learning hat on. Because no matter where someone's at in life, they can educate you. They can provide you with a diverse perspective or a diverse experience where it transforms your thinking. So the humility of my upbringing allows me to have the dignity to lead courageously.
So, how did your upbringing influence your leadership philosophy today?
Oof. So the servant leadership is comes from I grew up knowing that I depended on so many people to make ensure that my house ran correctly. So I depended on the government with assistance. I depended on live heat for my heat bill. I remember my sister and I writing letters to wealthy people so we can get Christmas gifts. It's just so many different experiences. Going back to Dominican Republic, I lived there on and off from birth to 5, and then 3 months a year until I was 17 and went to college. And going into a village where we used outhouses, where we showered with whatever water was in a tank that came from the sky. So it's like limited resources. When you can survive and thrive with limited resources, it positions you in a way where then you finally have some resources that you understand that your real mission in life is like, now that I have this, what do I do with it? So going back to the miseducation of the Negro and reading all these literatures and memoirs about people that came from struggle and then held positions of power to liberate others, always reminds me of why I do the work. But more importantly, it reminds me of intent versus impact. Because sometimes you can have very clear intentions and your impact could be negative. So that collective experience always puts me in a place of thought, and those thoughts allow me to then do what I feel is important, is engage stakeholders in a way where I'm collecting as much information as possible before a decision is made. Power and titles do not make a leader, and it doesn't matter what position you hold or what title you hold. You could be leading for the wrong purposes and the wrong people. So that's where my servant leadership comes from. And then my transformational leadership is that I understand that the people came into my life. They gave me, they intellectually engaged me. They motivated me. They empowered me. And it doesn't matter how strong you are. If you don't have somebody in your corner or in your network that can do that for you, at times you will struggle. Or what I've had, unfortunately, gone through is you can go through imposter syndrome. And because our society is built in the way it is, sometimes you look in the mirror and you could think less of, or you could think someone else has a competitive advantage. So these experiences have allowed me to dismantle that mindset. Specifically, while I was going through my doctorate program, I had thoughts about, hey, is this for me? Should I stop doing this? Do I belong? And things of that nature, because society can tell you one thing, but the people that I support and how it has transformed their lives really has shown me other.
So, what challenges did you face as you navigated your early career?
Oof, lots of challenges. Understanding the community voice and community aspect, understanding that education must be differentiated in a way that allows access for all students in the classroom, creating cultures where failing forward is celebrated. Uh, we come from really our society in itself, but almost every industry, it's a performance industry, and even in mines. And sometimes you can fall victim to thinking that if you're not performing or you're not executing or you're not achieving, that you're not being successful. But what I've learned the most is that every success story is not catched in a spreadsheet. The data doesn't tell all of the story. It tells the quantitative perspective, not the qualitative. So I began to find a lot of joy in other things that did not come up on a scale of success or non-success, which then led me to redefine what success is for people. And what that really is a differentiated scale and a spectrum, because success for one person could be totally different from others. Some might measure success on a monetary value. I started my career making $27,000 a year, and I went to work happy every day because I saw the collective value that I brought to that population of people I was serving. But I also saw how I was transforming their lives. So I very early in my career, I did not connect money with success. I only collected value with success, and that's what still matters to me to this day.
As a paraprofessional impact the way you lead now?
Oh yeah, big time, man. So I started my paraprofessional career in Oxford, Pennsylvania, right outside of Lincoln University, with what I would say one of the most diverse communities I've ever served. I had the whole gambit of students, and not just race, but also religion, also ways of life. I had a large Amish population as well. And what I'm telling you is at 21, I'm a paraprofessional and I'm teaching these students. But what they didn't understand was that I was learning more from them than they were from me because I was understanding culture, value, what's important, who wears shoes to school, who doesn't, who's on a horse and buggy. And it gave me a wide spectrum of meeting the demands of all stakeholders, not just the ones that you might be designated to control. So that taught me a lot, but it also taught me about how to be a great follower. And being a great follower has translated to me being what I would call a decent leader. I followed a lot of people in this field, and then when I got my opportunity to lead, I took what I learned, good and bad, and transformed a culture where equitable outcomes uprooted.
So, what personal values have remained constant throughout your journey?
That's a very good question. And this the values that I connect with the most is family, my faith, and most importantly, outside of those two, how can I be of service to others? Those values have remained with me to this day and continue to be. And now my challenge now is how do I promote that for people in a way where it doesn't feel like I'm pushing it on you? And what I've learned is that you have to model the behavior you want to see, but then you have to hold yourself accountable to be very consistent around that behavior because we just cannot be what we do not see. And then after we see it, we need to see it consistently. So holding myself accountable to that degree allows me to make deposits in so many people's lives. And then my mantra, and everybody that I know that has worked with me in any capacity knows that my mantra is pay it forward. I'm in a position where, through the grace of God, it's not that I want something back from you, is that I want you to give it back to someone else. And I love that, and it's been able to happen. I had 3 assistant principals; they're all principals. When somebody's looking for mentorship and I can't provide it, I'm calling somebody that I've supported, and I'm like, "Hey, man, this is a perfect opportunity for you to give back." And I love the community that I've built because everybody now has a very similar mindset around how we approach life and work.
You know, tell me, how do you manage to separate, your private life from the personal aspects of the work that you do?
Uh,
Because I know that means that you're actually interacting with a lot of people on on the real serious personal levels.
it's that might be my one boundary that I struggle with because I fall in love with people. I fall in love with people, and I don't fall in love with your potential. I fall in love with what you're doing right now. Potential is a myth. Who you are right now is reality, and it's about building capacity. So it's difficult for me to do that. I've gotten feedback before, like, "Hey, man, it always feels like you're on," and it's like, "Hey, man, uh, I am," because it brings me joy to help others. It really does. Now, I thank God that now I have, you know, other outlets to release that, but I don't shy away from an opportunity to helping somebody. I really don't. I really don't. And I thank my mom for that. And if that's my biggest downfall, then I'm okay with that one being my Achilles heel.
We got some comments and questions here in the chat. I want to open these up for you, and if you'd like to, you're more than welcome to respond to these.
Absolutely.
Um, Here is, well, this is a good thing here for the show. It says, another great guest and strong member of the Alumni Association, Lincoln University, AAULUI. So that's
Oh
one of
yeah.
your alums.
Yes, yes, yes. That's my great former colleague, Dr. Jonathan Brown, transformational leader. He was on your show not too long ago, man. We
Yes.
we are men of like attainment.
Yes, Dr. Brown was there, excellent, and I appreciate you being here as well. And we have another one here. This is from the Alumni Association.
Oh,
That's I guess they're just giving kudos to you being on the show.
oh, that's listen. Lincoln University. is 80 to 90% of who I am. I mean, it was some of the best experiences of my life. I had some amazing professors that poured into me in a way that no one has before, and it really allowed me to understand that in life there's no need to code switch. What you can do is adjust to your settings. So in other institutions and other organizations, they might ask you to do that. And my question after that is always, so whose code am I switching to? And because of that, I've have a courageous mindset that I can adjust to your setting, but I have to bring my 100% authentic self with me. And I take a lot of pride in saying that I'm a Lincoln alum because of that and so many other things.
Let's transition over to your educational leadership and your assistant superintendent work. What does leadership look like at the system level compared to the school level?
So a lot of things. So I'll start by saying the principal job was is the favorite position I ever had because you are the CEO of a single organization as a principal, and you get to see your students every day. You get to see your staff every day. And then you're not really focusing on year over year data. You're focusing on like a 3-year cohort data. You're making improvements on the fly. So that work allowed me to be a member and part of that community, part of fabric of that community to this day. The way you're able to transform the mindset and shift the mindset of community members, it's just like no other. At the systems leader level, you have to be 100% okay with being in the background, and you have to be 100% okay with knowing that your efforts might not shine, but if they shine for someone else, that's okay as well. You also have to deal with the political aspect of the job, with making extremely hard decisions. I carry a portfolio of 15 schools, so it is pretty massive to be able to move around from one location to the next. Also, at times, it can feel difficult on a personal level that I can't make it to every school as much as I want to. And you really have to factor in where your schools are at, tier them, identify what's the most equitable outcome, deputize your team, and trust a lot of people to be able to carry out a mission and vision. So it's very similar, but on the aspect of leading, it has elevated my leadership skills to be able to handle a portfolio of 15 schools with about 7,000 students, but also ensuring that you're meeting the needs and demands of everybody in each school. Those are some of the biggest differences of it. I love them both, but I personally will say that the principalship is like no other because you get to live out every dream you had. You know, if you want to sing, you can do karaoke for your kids. You want to get into a Santa suit, you can say Merry Christmas to the kids. I was able to really do it all. But at the system leadership level, I've been at this position now for 6 years, and I have fallen in love with the major impact that you can have in a large sample of population of students that I have, which is about 7,000.
Is there one system that needs more work than the other?
Yes, 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 yes. And when it comes to that, uh, I would say the social and emotional well-being of students, the mental health of students, is something that we can consistently improve on, really nationwide. We're in times right now where I wouldn't say it's undervalued, but sometimes could be a buzzword. I think that my district does a really good job with providing mental health services for students and staff, but also we start our day with a community meeting that hyper focuses on social and emotional learning, that allows and creates a space and an atmosphere for students to be vulnerable, for students to be able to discuss topics that have nothing to do with what's about to roll out on a school day, but can have a drastic impact on how they're going to perform that day. So we're doing a good job. I always think that we can do a better job of securing our students' integrity and mental health and social emotional well-being at the school setting.
How do you build trust and alignment across an entire network of schools? Because that's got to be a lot of work for you.
Yes.
Know how you could do that in one day.
Well, one day is impossible, but I go by this. You know, life to me is about gifts and talents. My gifts
Mhm.
come from the Almighty. My talents come from my experience and my education that I have, secured in multiple institutions. One of my largest gifts is being able to build community. And oh, with building community, you have to understand that you have to create a shared vision. You have to create a community where community input supersedes your input, and you have to have a level of vulnerability that allows you to take feedback from your stakeholders on a daily basis. When people's voices, messages, and feelings are married to the decisions that we're making, then you are creating a collective front. And also, as you continuously make deposits in people's lives, then you can have the audacity to make a withdrawal. So I'm not asking anyone for anything until I have made a plethora of deposits in you, your leadership, your personal life, whatever the case may be, because uh, people are not going to trust you just because you know something. They're going to trust you because you consistently show up for them in a way that either A, they've had before, or B, they've never had. It's one or the other. The consistency piece is real, but the biggest piece I would say is creating that atmosphere where you are, as the leader, you're receiving feedback a lot more than you're giving it. So every time I have an experience with stakeholders, whether it's parents, students, or staff members or leaders, is hey, here's a survey. Give me your feedback on today's experience. How can we improve it? Oh, let's have these one-on-one chats. How can I improve my practice? How can I support you better? Once you shift it from leading from the bottom up, not the top down, then you can possibly create an atmosphere that allows you to thrive in your leadership. But most importantly, go to work every day and be happy about the work you're doing.
Strategies contributed to the significant gains in state assessments under your leadership.
So that really comes from the classroom up. And what that means is if what we've done is creating atmospheres in the classroom that are really student centered and that are full of joy. When you hear student centered or joy, you might say, "Hey, how do you measure that?" Well, there are some metrics that I follow, and some of those are when I go into a classroom, are we celebrating failure and success simultaneously? Are we creating an atmosphere where students want to participate in the conversation? Are our students equipped with the sentence stems and the question stems to have really strong student discourse in a way where no one's offended, but it's about moving the conversation forward? Are our teachers facilitating learning in a way where the students are doing the heavy lifting and they're consistently shifting the cognitive load onto students? And then last but not least is, are we creating an atmosphere and a normative culture that students understand how to engage with each other in a proactive manner, not just productive, but proactive? When you go into a classroom and you can calculate if these things are occurring, and what you see is that all the research is based on students learning from each other. All this is doing is taking a teacher and shifting it from teacher to facilitator. In this day and age, how students are being assessed and really the critical and independent thinking you need to thrive in America, you need to be empowered to be a critical thinker. So it's not about teaching you what to think, it's teaching you how to think and then taking a step back and allowing that creative and critical thinking to come to life. And no matter what response comes from a student, is about how do we build on that response instead of shutting it down.
Oh, wow. So, from top down, that is from school to teacher to student to parents to community.
Yes.
What is the message that you want them to receive from you?
Is that the real superintendent of a school district are the stakeholders you just named? It's the parent, it's the student, it's the teacher. All the research shows that a highly supported teacher is your number one resource. And then after that is a highly supported principal. So people that have boots on the ground that are in the field on a daily basis are going to have a lot more say in a decision for me than I do that I'm visiting multiple schools across a network. And also never undermining somebody's perspective or somebody's notion of what their reality is. Because if you ask 5 to 6 more people, you'll start to get a consensus. If you ask 20 to 30 more people, you'll start to see a trend. So sometimes you can make decisions at the top and not realize, like I said earlier, how it impacts other stakeholders. I try to lead to the best of my ability with that mindset, and I've been able to create atmospheres of success because of that.
So you can support principals in developing their own leadership identities.
Yes, yes, that is exactly what my largest role is. I take a lot of pride in that work. I have a nucleus of some novice principals, year one, year two, and some very seasoned principals that have over 10, over 15 years of experience. Uh, what I enjoy the most is getting all of us together in a room and learning from each other. Some of our more novice principals might have some innovative ideas that are not being translated yet in other campuses. And then clearly our tenured principals have institutional knowledge that provide avenues for growth for the others. But placing people in a room and having open dialogue, creating open-ended conversations that there is no right or wrong answer, is about how do we get to the collective truth. Really allows me then to identify what's everybody's entry point and then what level of coaching do you need, whether it's inquiry-based coaching, cognitive coaching, sometimes you need command coaching. My favorite role is coaching in my position, because that's where you build capacity and people get better at their role, which clearly creates positive outcomes for young people.
What are the biggest challenges facing urban school districts today?
Definitely the first one is underfunding. There's been a lot of funding cuts, budget cuts, but historically, specifically here in the city of Philadelphia, we've been historically underserved and underfinanced for half a century, or if not more. So, ensuring that the financial stability that we need to thrive at a school is never undervalued. Clearly, there's going to be funding for what they call uh, enrolled, teachers that come with enrollment. You meet X amount of students, you're going to have a teacher. But knowing that specifically in the society we live in today, with so much mental health concerns and social concerns, that then you need, where's the counselor? Where's the dean of students? Where is the psychologist? Where is this? There's so many pivotal pieces to ensure that we are educating children uh, holistically. I believe in educating the whole child, mentally, physically, and socially. So there has to be other pieces involved, but also then parent universities and parent trainings around how to best support your child, not just academically, but with the other words that I've been using, socially and emotionally. So I would say the underfunding is our biggest challenge. And then after that is, after you get the funding, understanding how to fund your plan. So not just throwing money at a problem never solves it. Having a plan and then understanding this is the budgeted dollars that I need to bring it to life translates to outcomes a lot better. So if one is the funding, and then two is really how are we using the funding? Because I've been part of other districts and communities where the money has been there, but the outcomes didn't align.
Go to your principalship and school level impact. During your time at Luis Munoz Marin Elementary, what drove the school's 3 consecutive years of progress?
Ooh, that was healthy for the constituents and borderline unhealthy for me at times because, uh, it was a dream come true. I'll start there. I was able to lead a pre-K to 8 bilingual school in the city of Philadelphia, where the vast majority of my students were Hispanic, and then the other was African American. So really, the two cultures that had formed my decision making and my upbringing, one being a Latino by birth, but then two, growing up in predominantly African American communities, I was able to really serve a student body that represented who I am and what I stand for. Because of that, I didn't mind putting in a lot of hours, but that's personal. What really brought that to life was galvanizing towards this amazing mission around one, believing that our students can and will achieve, and then two, understanding that if we're not all dancing to the same beat of that drum, we're not going to get there. I was blessed to have a staff and cultivate a staff that really understood that challenge and not only took it professionally, but they took it personally. And then branding, a lot of branding came to life, norming on how we speak to students, narrating the positive, putting these brands and these posters all over the school, understanding that once we come into this institution, onto this campus, this is our home. How do we take care of our schools? How do we dress? How do we communicate? That's all the social piece. The emotional piece was ensuring that we have community meetings, having outlets, having sensory rooms, understanding that a suspension is not an intervention. It's actually a barrier to that student's educational programming. So people bought into that. Then we had PLCs, professional learning communities. We were able to really engage in how we engage students, how we're going to facilitate learning, what are the mistakes that we made. So the same culture we embodied in the classroom where we were failing forward, we really embodied that as a staff. And because of that, we continuously made gains. When I got to the Luis Munoz Marin Elementary, we were ranked 4th worst school in the city of Philadelphia. And in 2 years, we climbed the top 30. So the work that we did, man, is transformational. It still lights me up to this day. And those students are still thriving to this day, and they're doing very well.
Mm. So what did the Accelerated Improvement Award represent for you and your team?
Hope, man. It really showed that with this level of work, with this level of laser focus, that the most impoverished communities can thrive. It dismantled a narrative that these kids can't do it. These kids can't learn. These kids this, these kids that. Something that I really is the reason why I came into education, because I was in some settings in my K to 12 experience where there were just very low expectations, where people were just okay with you just doing all right, not believing that you could do more. So that gave me not only a sense of belonging. I was 30 years old when I became principal, and I had to deal with anybody that has some youth to them in any industry deals with. Is this person ready? Can they lead? Did we make the right decisions? Not only did it prove them right, the people that hired me, but it also proved some naysayers wrong. But most importantly, it gave the students a beacon of hope that it doesn't matter where you come from. And I believe in that. I don't care what your zip code is. If you put the right leader and the right staff in any community, that community will thrive. So it gave me a sense of belonging. It gave me a sense of we can do this, but it continuously empowered me and kind of recharged me to keep doing this work at a grander scale.
You build a culture where teachers feel valued and students feel seen.
Humility with dignity, humbleness with pride. What does that mean? It means meeting everyone exactly where they're at. And I'm not talking about educationally or mentally. I'm talking about just humanistically. You know, what does that mean for me? I made sure that I rotated my cafeteria periods and just sat with kids and ate lunch. At recess, I made sure, hey man, let's go shoot some hoops. I'll tell you another thing. During my tenure, I was the only principal in the entire district that operates 300 schools that was also a coach. So I was a volleyball coach for the students. I was a flag football coach for the students. I understand that you cannot be a leader until the people believe that you can lead. And by the people, that means the constituents that you serve. So my students saw me in different aspects, and they enjoyed that one moment I'm Principal Lajara, next second I'm coach. So now you get to interact with me in a totally different level. And it just brought me so much joy to be able to do that work. But I understand that when you meet people where they're at, they begin to understand that you have an open mind, and they begin to understand that you care about them. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's something I lead with.
Lessons from your principalship still guide you today.
Oh, 100%. 100%. To be able to be a great system leader or a principal supervisor, you have to have your principal hat on at all times, because you have to understand that what you're messaging needs to go through the filter of principalship before anything. So I keep my principal hat on very sturdy, and I understand that the moment I sound like I'm not a former principal, that I'm sounding too corporate, then I begin to lose the following that I continuously work to get. So the principalship, I mean, I thank God for having that experience, specifically here in the city of Philadelphia, because it allows me to resonate with so many of the challenges and circumstances and even successes that my leaders go through, but also it gives me a level of relatability to really talk with conviction around what you're going through and how can I support you.
Look, we got a comment here from Coach Carla Willis. I'm sorry. Student mental health is too important. It's so important. I'm sorry. It typically mirrors the family's mental health. Often teachers, counselors, administration, and staff are facing mental health challenges as well. So building community is absolutely essential. Thanks for adding value through this conversation. So, would you like to have any comments or anything to say to Coach Willis about this comment?
No, absolutely. I want to thank her for commenting about that, and that is true. This field that we're in can be underappreciated and undervalued at times. So I'm gonna lead with this quote, and then I'm gonna go somewhere else. Charlotte Danielson, which is a educational figure that created the Danielson framework that a lot of us still support teachers with, stated that the only way to compare a teacher profession is to compare a brain surgeon during brain surgery in real time. Because as a teacher, you're making so many decisions in each second that it compares to that. Well, you know what that leads to? That leads to being overwhelmed. That leads to being burnt out. That leads to taking your work home. That leads to long days and short nights. And she's absolutely right. A lot of us, including myself, have battled mental health and had to seek outside agencies and outside supports to ensure that I'm right so I can go to school and go to work and give everybody my all. So when you lead with that, and that's something I take pride in, I'm very open about my shortcomings because I never want people to value me or look at me like I'm somebody that I'm not. I battle mental health, I battle physical health, but I talk about it openly. And then I also talk about, hey, I go to therapy. Hey, I go to the gym to work out and do outlets. I do contrast therapy with cold plunges and saunas. You have to be able to take care of yourself when God has put you in a position to take care of so many others. And as a district, when you position yourself like that, like the school district of Philadelphia has, with providing mental health services for free for our staff, for providing psychologists if you need it at totally free cost, for providing our students with step counselors and counselors at schools, you create a community that understands that you don't only value their performance, but you value their mental health and their overwhelming being. So super important in this field, and especially in this crucial time, specifically after we went through our double pandemic with COVID and all the other things that were going on. It's taken a toll on us that's still lingering, and every district should position themselves in a way that they put that at the forefront.
Let's transition over to your community work and service. How has your involvement with Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated shaped your leadership?
Man, I'll be celebrating 20 years in the best fraternity of all time. The first fraternity founded on a Black campus, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. It's so much of who I am because of the values that we have, because of the mandated social action programs that we have, you know, with donating blood, with giving back to the community. Nothing brings me more life than doing a social action project, like going into homes and providing our constituents with fans and with produce to keep them refreshed and going. And in the winter, providing heaters, and Thanksgiving, donating turkeys. It keeps you humble, grounded, but most importantly, it keeps you in what our mission is in life, which is lifting as we climb. And you know, I referenced Carter G. Woodson, which was a member of Omega Psi Phi, father of Black History Week, which then turned into Black History Month, which we'll be transitioning to in the next week or so. So these culturalistic values and ritualistic values have shaped who I am. And consistently, even if I veer off a little bit, I'm reminded by a group of men of who we are, which is men of like attainment, talent, and tenth. So it's the combination of going to the first HBCU and then pledging into Omega Psi Phi gave me those values, but then bringing those values into life and doing the work in the community, rolling your sleeves up, consistently reminds me of why we do this work and how we need to go about this work.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that community service, can you tell us what does that mean to you personally?
I'm a byproduct of people giving back. I really am. I wore hand-me-downs all the way to college. All the food. I remember getting in lines to go get government cheese, to go get cornflakes. It wasn't the real cornflakes, but it was something to help us get by. But I am a byproduct of people's willingness to give back. And like I said, I thank God that I went through those experiences because giving back is not something I want to do. Is my mission in life. And not just giving back financially. Sometimes you can do so much for somebody without any finances. The good book says some go by giving and some give by going. And those special people, they do both. So I try to do both to the best of my ability. But at the very least, if I fall short, I'm going to do one. I'm going to send you something or I'm going to show up.
Wow. That's so appreciative. How do organizations like ALAS and PAHSA support Latino leadership in education?
I'll say it again, man. You cannot be what you do not see. So going to these conferences, the ALAS conference, the Association of Latino Assistant, Administrators and Superintendents, and PASA is our Philly chapter. It galvanizes the Hispanic community, which is underrepresented in leadership in our city compared to the population of students we serve. So it's about creating these atmospheres that you're reaching out to people, you're helping them out. Right now, I'm focusing on supporting people through navigating the complexities of going from teacher to some level of leader, providing coaching, providing resources, having bi-monthly outings where honestly sometimes you just need to come out, enjoy a meal, and have conversations about things that are going on in life. So it's creating these atmospheres that really support the overarching goal of people, no matter what that is. But then when you go to the conferences, I was at one a couple months ago where you see the young people performing and dancing and singing. You go out and seek people like Miguel Cardona, our former Secretary of Education, and he's speaking about his journey, not just his personal journey, but his leadership journey. It's all about creating these atmospheres, man, where you see people that are doing what you're doing, but they're humble enough to extend the hand of friendship and pull you right up and help you out in life. Because we can't do this alone. I would not be sitting here today having this conversation with you if it wasn't for so many people. The humility of understanding that we stand on the shoulders of so many people to where we're at right now allows you to reflect and refine your practice so you can be a better person.
Wow, that transcends into this question here because what you said is so important. And if you could explain this question to people so they can understand this, why is representation so critical in school leadership?
To me, it's everything. It's everything. In the inner city is easy to create two mindsets. One, I'm a product of my environment. Two, I have imposter syndrome. I've suffered from both. I've had a lot of shortcomings. I went through a lot of, let's say, challenges before people in my life came into my life and righted my ship. What that means to me is